was all done several years ago. We had a plan. Chief Brewer from Madison put together this plan, and he mapped out all the calls, and then he sort of mapped in where stations should be. And that was a priority also, western part of Route 20 in Madison.
Well, then it would be feasible probably now, since that was years ago, to reinvestigate that situation, see where your majority of your calls are, see where you could centralize. I hate to see a station be taken out of the village, because no matter what, you've got to go into the village.
That station is pretty old, pretty rough shape.
Well, true. I'm not saying you shouldn't rebuild.
Governments could use for something, I don't know.
Landfill.
Whatever you
Build one behind there and bulldoze the front.
No, and you're right, the Burns Road property, and that came up in the meeting, you know. You might as well face it, you got Sahara Trailer Park, which is a large number of calls that way. But there again, you're going north and south, which is perfect.
Right.
You know, and that came up in our meeting too, that piece of property.
You should do another, prioritize where your calls are coming from and start from there. And if those properties are not feasible, again, like Mike said, sell them off.
That's what we were calling the 307 property, Mike. There's extra land up there when we got that from, I can't remember the guy that was showing his name. Whatever. But when we bought it, we overbought it behind the back properties there. We was hoping at 90, that area would be developed, and if somebody needed land, we could sell some and make a little money. But that property's probably worth the most right now. Like you said, Mike, we're not going to lose money on that property. So, you know, do you do like Bill's saying there? Do we build a station, do the Burns Road property, build a satellite there, or add to Station 1 and add to Station 2 in the first plan? You know, and then, but that's where, you know,
but when you build a station, when you decide to build a station, wherever it is, whether you build a station in the village on the property that the village has, build a satellite station out south someplace, I would certainly hope that when you do that with a bond issue. I don't think that you're going to save enough money. If you're going to save $100,000 a year with this special fund you set up, and the average fire station now is going to cost you in excess of $1 million, then you're not going to be building a new station for 10 years saving $100,000 a year. And if you're going to take more money out of the budget to add more to that fund, then you're taking more money out of the operations and more money out of hiring people and more money out of giving fair salaries. So I would certainly think that saving money at $100,000 a year earmarked for buildings, or I don't know exactly how that was earmarked, but that ain't going to cut it. You know, you're going to have to think about a bond issue. And the people in this town will, if the police department were looking for a bond issue, you'd have a heck of a time passing it. Because it's generally, police departments always viewed negative because somebody got a speeding ticket 20 years ago. Fire departments generally are looked at positively. And we had this little debate a few meetings ago when Billy said he didn't like us trashing the fire department, you know, people trashing the fire department, the chief, etc. Weren't trashing it. I think I said then, I've never used those words. But people, no matter what the operation of the fire district is, people have positive thoughts about fire department. They don't care whether you're from Perry, from Madison, or Geneva, as long as somebody shows up at the emergency. That's all they care about. And fortunately, we're able to do that. It may not always be a Madison squad. It may not always be, you know, we always get the job done. But attitudes toward fire departments are generally positive. And so I think that if you're going to talk about building buildings, it's going to be into the $1 million. You know, we're into $1 million you're going to be to build an acceptable station. It's not going to be chicken feed. You know that, and I know that. And there's no way you're going to save money to build a station. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think we realize that, Mike. But two, what came up in our meeting, and get that to Beth then, we don't want to build a station just to get by. If
No.
we build a new station, we want to build it big enough, but plus have the room to add to it as needed. We are not cobbling up like a 1 or a 2. You know, make it so you can grow right there. And that's where the little satellites came in, you know. They'd be there with some equipment or whatever. But no, yeah. Okay, Beth, back to you.
Okay.
Stepped in your winter.
That's okay. Good conversation. It's nice to see it flow like that. Back to the South Madison thing. Maybe, you know, nobody said anything when I said volunteer, because I know that's kind of hard. Maybe like a pay per call kind of situation. Maybe have a first responder engine in that station so that it can be utilized at some point.
I'll go back to the old days, when we had volunteer firemen at Station 3 area, you know, men in the area. I think the chief and Mike, you might back me up on this. There's a number of times when the Station 1 got there before the men got to the station. You know, because they're spread out. If the weather's bad, this and that, you know, they're not going to get there. And am I right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's why Station 1 pulled back over and Station 3 became a storage garage. You know, and I mean, that's...
Yeah, I just hate to see it
Oh, I know.
utilized like that. It's
It's
just
sitting there.
a waste of money.
There
It's
used
a
to be
waste
a
of-
lot of firefighters.
Used to be.
But those old boys are retired or they haven't passed on.
Quit
But something to
talking
look
behind me.
into.
And that's it.
Okay. Any more questions from the board there, Beth? Or anybody else in the audience? Only took an hour.
Wow.
Okay.
You want to continue?